This is CBS News Chicago.
Good morning and great to be with you. I'm Adrena Sinclair. Dana Kozlov is off this hour. Thank you so much for being with us here. We have lots to get to, including a 13-year-old boy shot while riding the Red Line. We are live with the details on this shooting and how it's part of a concerning pattern on the CTA. And a break in the case of a stolen violin, also on the CTA. Someone's now been charged, but the instrument itself still hasn't been found. And universities fighting back. A national day of action happening today as the Trump administration threatens to pull federal funding and limit campus activism. 9 o'clock, we're getting a check of your first alert forecast to start us off here. What a gorgeous shot along the lakefront there as we bring in Laura Bannon here in your first alert weather center. Sunshine, so nice along the lakefront.
I know, it's a feeling like a really nice spring morning out there this afternoon. Nice weather. We do get into some wet weather starting today, especially tomorrow. And tomorrow's the day we've been alerting you on the risk of severe weather. Level 2 risk on a scale of 1 to 5. Tomorrow's also going to be the warmest day of the entire week and the warmest day of the year. First time in the 80s. I think we're going to go to 81 out at Chicago O'Hare, right around 80 Midway, Joliet, 81 degrees for the forecast high on a Friday. Now, as we look at your day today, a couple of showers afternoon. Overnight tonight, there is a limited storm potential, but we're mostly going to be breezy, mild, lows near 60 degrees out ahead of that windy warm up for Friday. Those thunderstorm chances hold off for a better part of the day, mostly in the evening, overnight hours before eventually wrapping up. Shower chances will continue through Easter weekend. We'll talk more in detail about the timing coming up.
All right, Laura, thank you. Now we turn to your nonstop news where a 13-year-old boy was shot on the Red Line. It happened last night at the CTA Garfield station, and he is now the 4th person shot on a Red Line train or platform this year. Darius Johnson live at Commuter Children's Hospital where that teen is recovering this morning. Hi, Darius.
Hey there, Adrena. Good morning to you. You know, the shooting of this 13-year-old is really just a part of a disturbing trend that continues to plague public transit here in the city of Chicago, including a deadly shooting that took place on the Red Line just last month. Now, this marks the 3rd Red Line shooting so far this year. It was around 8:30 last night when Chicago police arrived at the Red Line station right there on 55th Street, also known as Garfield Boulevard. They found a 13-year-old boy shot inside a train car. He was then taken to Commuter Children's Hospital in serious condition, and this morning it's still unclear exactly what led up to this shooting. Now, this shooting did halt service on the Red Line for hours. You can see it right there as detectives continue to gather evidence from those train cars. Now take a look at this video. This was just last month where a 30-year-old woman was killed on a 69th Street platform after getting into an argument with another woman. That woman was later arrested and charged. Now take a look at this video from February. It was a month before the last deadly incident where a 30-year-old man and a 13-year-old boy were both shot at the White Sox 35th Street station. Again, of the 3 incidents, the only one that has led to an arrest was that deadly one back in March. Now, back out here live this morning, Area 1 detectives are still investigating last night's shooting. In the past, we've spoken to CTA workers who have told us they are scared to simply just show up for work. We've also spoken to commuters who say they are just trying to make it from point A to point B safely. We've reached out to CTA's new leadership this morning to really figure out exactly how they plan to tackle this growing problem and this trend that continues. We have yet to hear back, but as soon as we do, we'll be sure to let you know. We're live here at Commuter Children's Hospital this morning. I'm Darius Johnson. Adrena, back to you in studio.
All right, Darius, thank you for the latest on that. Also breaking overnight, a man shot and killed in Lincoln Park. Officers say they found the 28-year-old man on the sidewalk near Lil and Halstead around 9:30 last night. He was taken to the hospital and he later died there.
I walk up and see this tape, and this is something I've never seen before, and it's scary. I've never seen tape strung across this before, so I don't know. I feel a little odd, but I know it's not the norm.
We're told witnesses saw a man and woman running from the scene. Right now, no one is in custody. And a Chicago man is now charged with stealing a $10,000 violin from an Art Institute student on the Blue Line. 39-year-old Timothy Johnson will appear in court today. He's charged with felony robbery for this incident, which happened Friday night in the Loop. Police say he resisted arrest yesterday when they finally tracked him down. They have not been able to confirm if the violin was actually recovered. And we now know the cause of this big warehouse fire that we covered for you yesterday morning. Chicago fire officials say the fire was accidental and started due to workers who were using tools trying to remove some old machinery on the second floor. The building used to be the site of a printing plant. Thankfully, though, no one was hurt in this fire, but the fire did see a major response with more than 100 firefighters there. Well, mayors from across the country are in D.C. this week for the annual African American Mayors Association Conference. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is expected to participate at some point. The conference, called Power of Now, is a chance for the mayors to talk about how cities can work together and use forward thinking. This is the largest meeting of African American mayors in the country. The conference will be kicked off by Football Hall of Famer Michael Strahan. And the White House continues to double down on the deportation of migrants to El Salvador, even as a federal judge says the Trump administration could be held in contempt for doing so. And it comes as fallout over federal chair Jerome Powell's warning on the impact of President Trump's tariffs. 9:06 right now, a live look at the stock market, which opened just about 30 minutes ago. You can see the market is down about 388 points to start the day. CBS's Jared Hill has more, including Trump's reaction to the Fed's comments.
President Donald Trump on social media touted progress in his trade talks with Japan as the head of the Federal Reserve warned his sweeping tariffs could cause serious economic slowdown.
The tariffs are larger than forecasters had expected, certainly larger than we expected.
Likely driving up prices and raising unemployment.
We're making America great again.
Today, President Trump is set to host the Prime Minister of Italy, with whom he shares a positive relationship. This as California announced it's suing to stop the tariffs, arguing they'll disproportionately impact the state's agriculture, manufacturing, and other industries.
The uncertainty is pronounced and it is profound in the state of California.
Meanwhile, Wednesday, a federal judge said there's probable cause to hold the Trump administration in contempt over the deportation of more than 200 migrants to a prison in El Salvador. The judge gave the administration 1 week to either come up with a plan to bring them back or name whoever refused his order to turn the planes around at the time. The White House planning to appeal the case while standing firm on the deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
He will never live in the United States of America again.
Immigration officials admit the Maryland resident was deported by mistake, but they won't bring him back, arguing the Supreme Court only ruled they couldn't get in the way of him returning to the U.S. Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen traveled to El Salvador yesterday to meet with the country's vice president, but wasn't allowed to see or speak with Abrego Garcia. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Powell made those comments during an event at the Economic Club of Chicago. He says this stagflationary condition leaves the Fed in a bind. He hinted they might take a wait-and-see approach and leave interest rates flat. Well, we've learned at least 50 people are dead and hundreds missing after a boat capsized on the Congo River during a fire. This happened in northwestern Congo near the town of Mabandaka. The fire commissioner says 400 people were on board. It was a motorized wooden boat, and officials say the fire broke out while a woman was cooking on board. Rescue teams are still searching for those missing. And crews in Puerto Rico are still working to fix service after more than 1 million people were left without power yesterday. The island-wide blackout came as the heavily Catholic U.S. territory is preparing to celebrate Easter. Power Generator says that it is now working to find out why energy plants across the island unexpectedly shut down. This is the second island-wide blackout to hit Puerto Rico in less than 4 months. And this afternoon, a judge is set to decide if the Menendez brothers deserve reduced sentences. But overnight, the LA District Attorney asked the judge to delay today's resentencing hearing, urging them to review a risk assessment from California's parole board. So Eric and Lyle Menendez are currently serving life in prison for the high-profile murder of their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, in 1989. It's not clear at this point if the judge will delay today's hearing, but the former Los Angeles County District Attorney credits a Netflix documentary in persuading him to file a motion in support of the resentencing. Current DA says that he agrees with the motion and that the brothers haven't fully taken responsibility for the murders. Some family members say the killings are a result of childhood abuse they endured.
To this very day, have continued to believe or continue to assert falsely that their parents tried to kill them that night and then concocted all these additional lies.
You get to talk about their expressions of remorse and their rehabilitation.
If the judge does shorten their sentence, the brothers would still need approval from the state parole board to get out. Now, if they're not resentenced, they could possibly get a new trial based on new evidence or request clemency. Well, still to come, a movement to support Black-owned businesses. How a Chicago pastor and aldermen are teaming up to organize a day focused on uplifting the Black dollar, plus what you can do to support.
Starting today, we have a daily rain storm chance that's going to go all the way into the early part of next week. It's dry now, but we've got some showers to track off toward the west when it arrives in Chicago, coming up after the break.
9:13, we are taking a live look now at Daley Plaza, where a giant Easter cross will be set up later today. That cross will be used in this Sunday's Sunrise Easter. You can attend the 18th annual Cross on the Plaza at 7 tonight to see the 19-foot cross be raised up. People will meet at this cross around 6 Sunday morning to celebrate Easter. There will be music, praise, and prayer as they recognize the resurrection of Jesus. The cross. Pope Francis was not at Holy Thursday Mass at the Vatican today. Instead, Cardinal Domenico Calcagno led the Mass and read the Pope's homily, saying that the day is a time for priests to renew the promises made at their ordinance. The Pope is delegating cardinals to lead Masses during Holy Week as he recovers from double pneumonia. Still not clear if he will make an appearance on Easter, though he was in St. Peter's Square for Palm Sunday Mass. A Chicago pastor is calling on you to celebrate Easter by supporting Black businesses in a movement that he calls Spend in the Black, Resurrecting the Black Dollar. It's happening Saturday on 75th and King Drive, and more than 50 owned Black businesses and vendors will be on hand. Shoppers will be eligible to win $1,000 every hour with the money deposited into an emergency savings account. Pastor Charlie Dates, a Progressive Baptist and Salem Baptist, and 6th Ward Alderman William Hall joined us here in studio to talk about putting your dollars in your community and supporting the Black businesses there.
We need to raise the tide of our Black business owners and spend our resources with people who do respect us, who do value us, who do invest in our communities. And this weekend is all about making that happen in Chicago. Audrina, we're going to have the greatest concentration of Black businesses in a single corridor in Chicago this year on 75th and King Drive. You're going to see tents line the streets like the Hyde Park Fest, but it's going to be fantastic. Little kids playing, and everything from ice cream to light bulbs.
Come to the place where you're celebrated, and we're celebrating Black excellence in the city that's a metropolis. Black, brown, white, we welcome them to 75th Street to see what they've never seen before.
Spend in the Black is on Saturday from 10 to 6 at 75th and King Drive, and then similar efforts are happening in New York, Atlanta, and Houston. And there's just lots of events this weekend, whether people are celebrating Easter, whether they're just planning for spring time.
In general.
I
know, yeah, it'd not be freezing cold.
I know. So tomorrow's temperature high is crazy to see, but we also have the storm threat to come with it.
We do. That storm threat's going to hold off till the evening hours, late day, so it's going to be nice to get out. I think there's going to be a lot of foot traffic here in downtown in the Loop. Just in general, I mean, we have not made it to the 80s so far this year. I've got a forecast high tomorrow of 81, making it the hottest day of the year. Now, we've got some shower chances to dodge around. Starting today, some afternoon rain showers. Not expecting big-time thunderstorms here, but that may change tonight. We do have a low-end potential to see a stray thunderstorm. Right now, it looks like that's going to miss our area, but that is going to be subject to change. Tomorrow is when our severe weather threat will increase. We have been alerting you this all week long. It's going to be a very warm, windy day, but we are working with an unsettled air mass that's going to help focus and fire up those thunderstorms as a cold front comes through. Our severe storm threat for today, mostly going to be off toward the west in the overnight hours. That severe weather threat will increase to a level 2 risk on a scale of 1 to 5. High wind is going to be the main threat. Some large hail may accompany some of those thunderstorms. Notice here the tornado risk. It's on the lower edge of the scale. It's not at 0, so we can't completely rule out a brief isolated tornado, but it's really going to be large hail and wind as the main threats with those thunderstorms. Here's our afternoon rain chance. Temperatures right around 60, mid-60s. We have some showers, windy conditions, staying windy through the overnight hours with that small end chance for a stray thunderstorm. And most of the day, it looks like it's going to stay dry. There is that outside chance at a stray shower here or there with those temperatures in the upper 70s, close to 80 degrees. But here comes that cold front with those thunderstorms developing mostly after 6, closer to 9, 10 o'clock in the evening. So it's likely going to be a late night out there as those thunderstorms clear, giving us mainly dry conditions on Saturday. There is a chance to see some showers well far south of 80. The better rain chance for the weekend sneaks in this direction for Sunday. I think those early morning Easter egg hunts are in good shape, but by lunchtime, midday, afternoon, that's when we have wet weather overspreading. You've got a dreary Sunday, Easter Sunday, which will eventually linger into early Monday. 64 degrees for the high today. A notable warm up tomorrow. Big jump here, going to 81, and then we come crashing down to the mid 50s for Saturday, Sunday. Some of the cooler days out ahead of a midweek warm up. Let's go on out to the First Alert Traffic Center. Road conditions are dry, so how are our commuters doing, Chris?
Road conditions are dry, and there is a lot of people out there, and they are right now going to be out there for a while. Our maps are glowing bright red just about everywhere you look. Look at that. All the core expressways here are in pretty sad shape right now, not because of any weather, but because of just different things. We've had some crashes here, and we've been working with this broken drain cover on the northbound side of Route 53 at Euclid in the work zone there. The left lane has been blocked. There have been some flat tires in there. It's backing up solid from Algonquin Road and has been for the last hour or so, and it's right in the middle of the work zone where the left shoulder, the former left shoulder, is now the left lane. You start to get traffic moving across those drain covers, and sometimes they fracture and fall in, and then it's bad news for everybody. This is what it looks like right now. Of course, out of all the core expressways, the Kennedy is the king of the parking lots. Inbound side right on the brakes from Foster. Basically take that all the way into Ohio, the street, not the state. The outbound side is pretty heavy too because of the ongoing road work, so a lot of people are going to be reaching out for your alternates like Elston. Inbound side of I-57. I haven't gotten any reports of anything, but it's a parking lot to the Calsag Bridge before you get to 127th. May have some midday work or an unreported crash there, but just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. You may want to take Halstead instead of that. And resurfacing work is, once again, slowing everybody down. Look at that big red line underneath all those icons. Lake Cook Road, either direction, between Route 53 and Arlington Heights Road, down to one thin lane each way. But it'll be nice when it gets all done. Audrina, back to you.
All right, Chris, thank you. Appreciate it. Well, Easter baskets aren't complete without the candy, but preparing for this holiday takes years. We go inside a candy operation as they get ready to roll out all those sweets. Plus, Jackie's a well-known Chicago seafood spot.
Audrina, good morning to you from Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp. It's been on Canal Street since 1950, and in all of those years, the recipes have never changed, but they actually just added 2 new fried shrimps to the menu just a couple of months ago. So they've got a spicy shrimp now that's called Smokin' Hot Shrimp that features the Carolina Reaper pepper, and then they also have a plant-based shrimp to try to accommodate some of the folks who have food allergies and whatnot. So obviously this is a busy kitchen right now. We're going to get out of the way. We will see you right after the break.
Welcome back. If you've shopped at all for the Easter holiday, you may have noticed candy is more expensive this year, especially chocolate. But sweet treats still make up the bulk of an Easter gift giving. When Gillette has a look at how new products are created for the largest candy producer in the country.
These are our Dove chocolate eggs.
At Mars Wrigley headquarters in Newark, New Jersey, planning for this year's Easter candy started about 2 years ago.
What do you smell?
Chocolate.
Chocolate. Sweet?
Yeah.
Joyce Steet does a lot of smelling and tasting in her role as Senior Director of Product Development, responsible for 26 brands, including Snickers, Skittles, and M&M's.
I have the best job ever. I eat candy every day.
There's a procedure when taste testing ingredients or potential products.
Go ahead and take a piece of the cracker,
including salt-free crackers and water to cleanse the palate, and sometimes not swallowing.
You can't eat every product that you're tasting. So just like wine, we do sometimes have to use a spit cup.
Good to know. Not today, though.
Not today.
There's plenty on the line here, with cocoa prices hitting record highs after bad storms, plant disease, and demand for chocolate spiked costs. Inflation has also driven up prices for other candies. Still, the National Retail Federation says that's not impacting Easter spending, projecting $23.6 billion in sales this year, near record levels. 92% of consumers are expected to purchase candy.
It's got a layer of peanut butter nougat.
Easter products from Mars Wrigley include a redesigned recipe and packaging for Snickers eggs. A lot of nut, caramel,
roasted peanut.
The company's sales and marketing divisions develop ideas for new candies, like the freeze-dried Skittles Popped Sour, released in January.
It's crispy, it's crunchy.
Steed's team came up with the recipe, which was extensively tested.
You can suck on them or chew them.
Oh, wow.
They're really sour.
Ready to help the Easter Bunny wow in those candy-filled baskets. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, Newark, New Jersey.
And the National Retail Federation projects the average consumer will spend almost $190 on Easter products this year. And when Easter rolls around, do you reach for Reese's Mini Carrot? According to Walmart, that's the top choice of Easter candy in our state, at least. It's not clear how they got to this decision, but according to their analysis, in every state, some sort of Reese's or Cadbury egg was #1. Well, next at 9:30, universities across the country are teaming up as President Trump threatens to withhold funding if they don't comply with his demands. We have that. And this comes as the White House launches new threats against Harvard after the school refused to bow down. The latest move now putting prospective foreign students at risk. We'll have that story and more after the break.
This is CBS News Chicago.
Good morning and great to be with you. I'm Adrena Sinclair. Coming up at 9:30, we appreciate you sticking with us through the hour here. And we're continuing to follow today's designated Day of Action. It's organized by universities across the country. The plan's happening at Northwestern and one of many under scrutiny by the Trump administration. But let's begin now with your first alert forecast. Got a few showers today, also preparing for a weather alert tomorrow. We're bringing in Laura Bannon here in the First Alert Weather Center. And today's not too bad though, right?
Yeah, not too terribly bad. Now, tomorrow, too, we do have that windy warm-up. Our winds are picking up out there as the clouds overspread. Now, things are getting busy well off toward the west. In fact, we've got quite a bit of lightning that's embedded with these thunderstorms. We do get into some rain here today by lunchtime, tapering off here this evening, and then we've got mostly rain-free skies for a couple of hours going into the night tonight, though there is still a potential for a storm. Today's forecast, middle upper 60s, close to 70 degrees as warmer readings farther inland. Tomorrow is going to be the warmest day of the week, a high of 81 degrees with our storm threat mostly in the evening hours. Ending overnight early Saturday, we are cooling down, going down to the mid-50s. That cool weather will continue into Easter Sunday as the rain chance ramps up once again. More on that Easter forecast and the rain that follows coming up.
All right, Laura, thank you. Appreciate it. Well, now to some news breaking overnight. Police investigating a shooting in the common area of an apartment building in Uptown. This happened around 2 this morning on Kenmore and Ansley. Now, police are telling us a 45-year-old man was approached by someone he didn't know who shot him twice and then ran off. We're told he's in serious condition right now and no one's in custody in this shooting. And nearly 24 people are now displaced after this fire you're seeing here spread to not just one but 2 buildings last night in Garfield Park. We saw fire coming from the building's roof, as you can see here, near 5th and Central Park Avenues around 11 last night. Now, one of the residents who lives there told us that he ran to wake up his family after he says he saw some smoke coming from the back of the stove.
I ran upstairs and I yelled and told him that there was a fire on the first floor. Then my dad, he called me back downstairs. Went downstairs looking for a fire extinguisher, but there wasn't one. And by the time he got back downstairs, it was already starting to get too bad.
Thankfully, no one was hurt in this fire. Officials say there were no smoke detectors. And there is a funeral today for the 2 people killed in a Kenwood apartment fire. Patricia Gabb and Alexis Dudley died after that early morning fire back on March 30th. You're looking at scene video here. Fire officials say that fire began in the back of an apartment near 46th in Woodlawn. 4 other people are still recovering from that fire. Today, the community will honor Gabb and Dudley. And then starting at 10 this morning, both will lie in state at Kenwood United Church of Christ until the service begins at 11 this morning. And today is the visitation for the soldier from Joliet who died during a training exercise in Lithuania. People will be gathering at 4 this afternoon at Tezek Funeral Home to say goodbye to Jose Dueñas Jr. Tomorrow is his funeral. Joliet's mayor is requesting all flags in the city be at half-staff tomorrow in honor of that fallen soldier. Now, earlier this week, Governor Pritzker ordered all flags to be at half-staff for Dueñas until the end of the day today. And family and friends came together for a prayer vigil for the Morgan Park High School students shot and killed this week. We first brought you this as breaking news yesterday morning and had learned that 18-year-old Trayvon Winfield was near his car at 115th and Morgan Tuesday night when a man came up and started shooting at him. Winfield was hit multiple times. He was rushed to the hospital for treatment, but he later died there.
Friends desperately needed Trayvon. Family desperately needed him. The community desperately needed him. The future desperately needs him.
Winfield's family says he was set to attend prom and graduate from Morgan Park High School in June. Well, faculty at Northwestern University joining colleges across the country in a day of action to rally against the Trump administration's recent attacks on higher education. So during the 4 p.m. rally in Evanston, the faculty is calling on the university's president and also the board of trustees to defend their students, staff, and their instructors. The Trump administration threatened to pause $790 million in federal funds to Northwestern for what is calling alleged civil rights violations. But the faculty aren't the only ones speaking out about this. We talked to Peter Cummings, a PhD student and the chief steward of Northwestern's graduate workers, and he said they're ready to stand together.
We're really trying to work alongside faculty and other workers and organizations at Northwestern to really meet this moment and stand up for workers against this barrage of illegal executive orders and policy changes from this Trump administration, many of which actively threaten everything that we fight and stand for in higher ed. We actually launched a formal petition asking members to pledge to commit to collective action to enforce our resolve in the form of like an official union platform that covers 4 key areas. One of which is protections for non-citizen workers. Another is preservation of STEM research funding. And a third is the defense of trans rights and lives on Northwestern campus and in our community. And the fourth is the fruition of a diverse, equitable, and inclusive workspace. And we're really looking forward to standing in solidarity with our faculty, student, and other members of the Northwestern community.
The graduate workers plan to speak this afternoon with the rally happening at 4 on the Evanston campus. At Harvard, international students may not be able to enroll if the school does not meet the Trump administration's demands and hand over disciplinary records. So this is an update to a story we've been following. Now, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is seeking documentation of any disciplinary action taken against them, including for participating in protests. This is all coming, by the way, from the student newspaper, the Harvard Crimson. International students make up more than 27% of the school's enrollment. And all of this comes as the IRS took steps yesterday to start the process of rescinding Harvard's tax-exempt status. If Harvard lost its status as a nonprofit institution, it would be forced to pay federal income taxes. The institution is pushing back on that, citing the constitutional right to provide private universities to determine their own practices. Education Secretary Linda McMahon suggested the administration may not stop Harvard.
We'll see what IRS comes back with relative to Harvard. I certainly think, in elitist schools, especially that have these incredibly large endowments, we should probably have a look into that.
Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security announced the cancellation of 2 grants worth more than $2.7 million. And activists for immigrant rights gathered at Federal Plaza this morning to prepare for what they call May Day. It's an annual event on May 1st celebrating workers and their rights. This year, many marches are expected to focus on immigrants, including here in Chicago at Union Park. The march will demand that mass deportations by the Trump administration end immediately.
That is why we will be marching in the thousands in broad coalition on May 1st to ensure we are rising up and protecting the rights of immigrants and migrants.
The very constitutional pillars of First Amendment protections are under attack.
And this May 1st participation by our union will be a representation of our stepping forward further into this fight along with every other worker across the world.
The May Day March will be held at Union Park at 11 a.m. on May 1st. It's happening on International Workers' Day with events being held across the country. Well, there's a new proposal to take on large gatherings of teens introduced just minutes before Chicago City Council members were set to talk about a possible curfew change. Now, we told you yesterday morning that some council members wanted to make the curfew earlier instead of 10 p.m., 8 p.m. Well, the new proposal would allow police the ability to trigger an instant curfew as situations emerge. Now, it still needs to clear the city's safety committee. Then, of course, it would go to full council. It has the support of CPD. Also, some key voices inside City Hall are supporting it. The mayor also seems to be leaning towards this idea over a curfew change, but not everyone is on board.
It's in effect from 6 p.m. to midnight. And then, of course, at midnight, if the situation's ongoing, you get to extend it. You have that authority. So it's designed to respond to the conditions on the street.
Could potentially lead to profiling, lead to limitations of people just exercising their freedom of speech.
The ACLU has spoken out against curfew proposals, saying there's just no evidence to support that they actually reduce crime. The organization is urging alders to first look at whether these actually work. Several Chicago community leaders and activists have also been raising some concerns and also some questions around proposed curfews and changes. Jamal Cole, who's the founder of the nonprofit My Block, My Hood, My City, released this statement yesterday voicing strong opposition to any proposal, including this latest one. He calls it dangerously subjective, and he believes it could invite discriminatory enforcement. My Block, My Hood, My City, by the way, works to empower youth by exposing them to different parts of the city. Well, we know now, and we know how our first responders work, but sometimes we forget about the people who take our 911 calls and get crews to the scene to help. Today, the city is honoring them.
So what I want to say to each and every one of you is that we could not do our jobs without you.
The Office of Emergency Management and Communications is recognizing the first civilian call takers and dispatchers. Some have been with OEMC since it was first created back in 1995. Deborah White started even earlier, first working for police in 1985, and after 40 years, she's about to retire. Congrats to her. Well, still ahead, a classic Chicago restaurant known for its fried seafood. Jackie joins us again from Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp. It's making me hungry this morning.
Good. Now, our weekend starts off dry and wet for Easter Sunday. The latest on the timeline and the warm-up that we'll see tomorrow in that weather alert after the break.
Welcome back to the show. In today's Jumpstart, we're spending the morning at Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp. Not sure if you've been there, but a fun spot for fried seafood in Chicago. It's been around for a long time, since 1950. Jackie Kostek back with us now, talking about what makes the restaurant just so popular. I mean, you know, Jackie, it's not easy to stick around for that many years in the restaurant business.
Oh my gosh, Audrina, absolutely. And that's why we sort of went into the history a little bit earlier this morning, because yes, they started in 1950, but the business has evolved over and over again, because if they had tried to keep doing what they had started doing, it would not have survived. So they certainly have had to adapt along the way. We want to show you the Thursday special here, which is the catfish strip special. It's $13.99 for a pound of fried catfish. So Kelly here is going to put it in the fryer. How long does it take in the fryer in this one once she drops it in?
Normally it takes around like 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes.
6 minutes. Okay, got it. So they're not going to quite be done by the time we're done with this. But I do want to mention too that Darius Johnson said that he's a big fan. He comes in here some Thursdays to get this special because it's just so darn good. Dan Hernandez, general manager here. Dan, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
So good. We were talking about sort of the memories attached to this place. You actually, well before you were general manager here, got introduced by your wife and your wife's mom, right?
Yeah, absolutely. When I live in Indiana, my wife was living here in Chicago.
Yeah.
So when I used to come in, well, we're recording. My future mother-in-law would ask, what do you want to eat? I said, how about some of that shrimp that you buy all the time? So it was Lawrence's. So that's how I got to get a little bit known as far as what Lawrence is all about. So we've been married 40 years.
Wow, yes.
And now I work here, so it's been great.
I love it. Well, congratulations on 40 years. That's amazing. And you also told a story about a couple that came in here to celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary. Can you tell that story?
Yeah, I was taking their order, and then they looked well dressed, everything like that. And then I found out that they were celebrating their 50th year, and I said, wow, 50th wedding anniversary, what a great celebration. And you're coming to Lawrence's?
Yes.
And she let me know Well, the reason why we're coming here, honey, is because here's where he proposed to me. So a lot of great traditions here for Lawrence's. Yeah.
I was going to say, the recipes have not changed. Everybody's got memories attached to it. Why do you think this place, not many places last 75 years in Chicago, why do you think Lawrence's has lasted that long?
You know what, I think it's, you know, if it's been working for so many years, why change it?
Yeah.
You know, everything always changes. Everybody tries to keep up with everybody else and what's going on. And you know what? We haven't changed our mixes. We haven't changed none of our recipes. And like I said, it's just tradition. So even if we try changing some of the things, in the reviews will let us know. They say, hey, this tastes, you need to go back to how it was. So we don't mess with it anymore. Yeah.
One thing certainly hasn't changed is Chicago summers are unbeatable, undefeated. You guys definitely celebrate summer right here at Lawrence's. You still have a dock that's just out back, which used to be used for the commercial fishing business, but now it's a public dock that folks can come up. And how do people use that typically?
Well, they usually park out in the parking lot and they start taking out, they bring their canoes and they launch off here. But the cool thing about it too as well is that we get a lot of people who either order online or give us a call, and they'll bring in their boats from the city, park it right there, come inside, get their Lawrence's, get back on the boat, and head back to back downtown to the city as well. So that's kind of like a little drive-through.
I was going to say, you don't have a drive-through here, but you have a pull-up on the boat and cruise off, float through, I guess. Yeah. Dan, thank you so much for your time this morning. Really appreciate it. And man, you were taking a look at the fried catfish strips. Again, Darius Johnson's personal favorite. And I will say, Dave Kennebrew has some stories back in the day from Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp. He's been telling those all morning long. So, Audrina, when you talk about memories attached to this place, if you know Lawrence's, you have a memory attached to it, and it feels like home because the recipes haven't changed in all of these years. 75 years. Back to you.
Yeah, you don't want them to change the recipe after that long. No. You're like, keep with what works.
No, absolutely. It tastes like home.
Exactly.
Yes,
Jackie,
absolutely.
thank you. Appreciate
100%.
it. They open along the river, Laura, and you're talking about pulling up the boat to go eat. I mean, people might try to bring out some boats tomorrow.
Hey, I've been seeing them slowly out in the harbors
trickling in.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not many, but I mean, things are coming together.
I know, everybody's watching your forecast like, wait, what's my time tomorrow to enjoy these 80s?
Pretty much all day. I've got a really large window of opportunity to enjoy these 80-degree days. Now, it's only one day, unfortunately. Once this cold front comes through, we get some cooling changes going into the start of the weekend. We go to 64 today. Low 80s on Friday. Notice the red there. We have a weather alert, which we have been telling you about all week long. We'll be monitoring a storm threat in the evening hours, and then Saturday, dry, cloudy, cool, especially along the lakefront. 56 degrees, up and down temperatures, and we do at least look for a couple of opportunities for thunderstorms. Today, that thunderstorm risk is mostly off toward the west, and then tomorrow is when we see a large area under that level 2 risk on a scale of 1 to 5, including all of the Chicago metro. We have an increased risk for some high winds with these thunderstorms, large hail. Tornado risk is low, but not at 0. But for these thunderstorms that evolve tomorrow in the late day, wind and hail are going to be the 2 main threats. Here's your day ahead. Clouds increasing. We've got more of a mixed sunshine at the hour. Turn cloudier throughout the day with some light rain showers for your afternoon. Mostly looking at some damp pavement. Overnight tonight, there is a small chance for a thunderstorm. Right now, it looks like it's going to miss our area, but we'll be watching closely for any thunderstorm activity through the overnight hours tomorrow morning. That better storm chance will come through in the late day after we see temperatures right around 80 degrees. Saturday, small chance for rain, mostly off toward the south, but then by Sunday, we've got an increasing chance for wet weather, especially by the mid to late morning, afternoon, into the evening and overnight hours. We've got rainy conditions, which will go into early Monday morning. So that rain chance will carry over, as well as that cool weather. 7-day forecast, mid-50s for highs through Saturday and Sunday. For Easter Sunday, do plan on wet weather for the second half of the day. Those early morning services, Easter egg hunts should be in decent shape. It will be on the cooler side after a low of 42 degrees. Middle upper 50s, and then getting back to the mid-70s or low 70s by the middle part of next week. Let's go to the First Alert Traffic Center. Chris, how are we looking out there?
Well, Laura, if you get going right now, maybe, just maybe, you'll get where you're going by sometime on Saturday morning. It is packed out there. Roads are very slow, even though the weather has not really been having much of an impact. We've got some midday road work that's going on in a couple of spots there. We've got the ongoing road work on the Kennedy Expressway. We've got this ongoing lane split on the Tri-State Tollway right around the vicinity of the 290. There's another one between the Cermak Toll Plaza and Ogden and getting around 47th. So those of you who need to get back and forth to O'Hare or any of the northwestern suburbs, you can see that big red line from O'Hare all the way down to the 290 on the Tri-State. So how about trying out Mannheim Road off to the east, or maybe the scenic route, York Road to the west, or further west out to Route 83. Those are fairly decent ways to get around the road work on the Tri-State. May take you a little bit, but it's a whole lot better than just sitting there. Have a great day. Drive safe. Let's be nice to each other. Chris Habermill, CBS News Chicago.
Yes, let's, Chris. Thank you. Well, if you've ever wondered if your coworker is a bot, now you may have to worry about that. Companies say they're working to stop fake job seekers as new employment scams target both sides of the market. Melissa Matani explains what this troubling trend is all about.
Not only do people need to be aware of fake job listings these days, now they need to be on the lookout for fake job seekers. And these aren't just real people auditioning for a job, but AI-generated avatars impersonating humans. Take a look at this example.
Can you take your hand and put it like in front of your face to like cover it partially? If you don't do it, we'll end the conversation right now.
So we spoke to the interviewer in that video, David Marzadlow, who told us this was the second time something like this had happened at his 3-year-old cybersecurity company. He said it's completely changed the company's hiring process, which now includes an in-person meeting. So why are people doing this? Well, people impersonating others isn't new. Often it's to infiltrate a company to get information, or sometimes to instill malware. Sometimes it can be innocent for people who want to juggle a remote job whilst also doing an in-person one. But AI technology is making impersonation easier and faster to do, and that's a problem for tech companies. Research and advisory firm Gartner estimates that by 2028, 1 in 4 candidates worldwide will be fake. And scammers are tackling both sides of the job market. Here's Microsoft's Vice President of Fraud on the issue.
This is where AI is being used to either attract people for the jobs, or they're creating jobs that don't exist to be able to scam people out of money.
So, for real job seekers out there who are looking for a legitimate job, here are some tips to spot those fake listings. First, don't give away any money or personal information up front. Second, make sure you can verify the listing by cross-checking that it exists on the company's official jobs page. And finally, look for AI errors and inconsistencies like the email not matching the name of the person reaching out. And of course, follow CBS News Confirmed on social for more tips. Melissa Matani, CBS News, New York.
Well, coming up, a look at the stories we are following today, including a late-night shooting on the Red Line. Welcome back. We have a look at the stories we're keeping an eye on today, and we start with the shooting of a young teenager on a CTA Red Line train. Officers found that 13-year-old boy shot in the Garfield Park stop around 8:30 last night. Police say that shooting happened inside the train car. The teen was taken to the hospital. He's being treated. We're told at last check he was in serious condition. No one's in custody in this shooting, and it's a concerning trend for the CTA. It's the 4th person shot on a Red Line train or platform just this year. And a man is dead after he was shot in Lincoln Park. It happened around 9:30 last night. Officers say they found the 28-year-old man on the sidewalk near Lil and Halstead. Also no one in custody in that shooting. Alderman Tommy Knudsen says that the suspects ran away and there's no known connection between them and the victim at this time. He's asking police to step up patrols in the neighborhood. And Northwestern University faculty set to rally this afternoon against the Trump administration's recent fight with higher education. It's part of a national day of action for higher education. During the rally set for 4 in Evanston, the faculty will call on the university's president and board of trustees to defend their students, staff, and educators.
Well, right now the rain here today, some showers around this afternoon. That'll take you through the afternoon rush. 64 degrees tomorrow, 81 degrees, but highlighted in red for a weather alert. There is that risk for some thunderstorms mostly in the evening. Cooler here this weekend, wet on Sunday for Easter, and then we're warming back up, back near 70 again for Wednesday. So a minor little dip, but no big cool downs or cold weather ahead in the next 7.
Which is good. We've been all over the place.
I know, this is like more like March weather than anything.
For real.
I'm over it.
But tomorrow feels like summer, so there you go.
We got that one going for us.
Thanks for joining us this morning. Always glad you're here with us. Your local news continues on the stream, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.